All right, so we've made it to Rob's farm. Rob owns Cibola Farms, so it's full of bison. So let's go and check this out. He's got a store here, Cibola Farms. They do meat sales. So Rob started his journey about 20 years ago. He's about 20 years older than I am. And what's really exciting is he's managed to keep a full-time job, but start all these other projects that bring him happiness and bring him joy. And I don't think he really needs to do any of this, but he thoroughly enjoys sort of doing it for the process. So 20 years ago, he opened Cibola Farms. Those are bison. And here, check this out. This is Rob. Rob owns Cibola Farms. Rob just opened this door and walked outside. You've spent basically the last couple of years, 20 years, deciding that you don't want to live sort of in a metropolitan area, that you wanted to move out to the country, find your happy place, and I guess obviously you didn't find it immediately, but it's something you've been working towards for the last 20 years.
Right.
So me and James have been discussing this a lot. The whole point of this project is we find ourselves to be in fairly successful situations where we can pay our bills on time and when they're due, and we seem to be sort of in between two places, which is, you know, should we do it because it's just going to make us that little bit more money, but it's going to take up that much more time, or do we do something that we find something that makes us happy and joyful and fulfills us in a different way, but it's definitely away from what most people would originally see as that.
Right.
Yeah. So you've gone through this journey over the last 20 years, and yeah, I mean, this
still
is
going through it.
Still going through it, but this is the Cibola Farms is the living version of your happiness.
A piece of it.
A large piece.
Yeah, well, this is a dangerous thing because, like, I came out of the country thinking that living in this environment would get me there sooner, better, faster, you know, more fully. And after 20 years of doing it, you know, at the beginning of this year, I was ready to ditch it because it's too much work and it
you found
provides a lot of frustrations and a lot of a lot of challenges.
So like it hit its peak in terms of your joyfulness and happiness. And
in
then
my head though.
Yeah.
And I evolved to the realization, this was like January, February, I evolved to the realization by May that my experiences here have nothing to do with really the farm. I mean, meaning I had to resolve the issues in my head. Yeah. So the happiness comes from your head. In theory, you don't need to own anything or live in the country to be perfectly happy. But it's all part of the, like, working it out in your head and having the experience together are sort of like the key combination that I'm discovering.
That you're discovering, okay.
Yeah.
So can we go out on the farm and see parts of it that make you really happy then?
Sure, absolutely.
Let's go do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, this closest to the house we call the farmette, and that's
farmette. It's French.
Sure, farmette. Farmette.
Okay.
Small farm.
Yeah. I know, that's why I said it.
It's for my physical health. So there's components of this.
You look like a very healthy specimen.
Thank you.
You don't look 82.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm amazing looking for 82, don't you think?
Very wise and alert gentleman.
Exercise every day.
Yeah.
Eat really amazing food. Meditate every day. There's pillars of this thing to get to.
So it's a pyramid, and you've got to have the foundation.
Yeah.
You're the farmette. The farmette builds your foundation.
Your mind cleared in the right place, and eating good, healthy food is one way to get there.
All right,
I mean, the main thing is the dairy over here.
Yeah.
Oh, and then of course the grass-based eggs.
Yeah.
They have this pasture here.
Yeah.
So we open this gate when they're in this pasture, and they have the pasture at the end of this road, and they hang out over there and graze. It's big. They've got way more space than 2 cows.
Yeah.
And then this is obviously where we milk them. So we need to have it centrally located between the 2 pastures.
Oh wow. Okay. Where's the purple scoop?
Oh, a guillotine. Is that for the bad ones?
She doesn't mind it at all. She hangs out in there, just keeps her stable so that she won't kick the milk equipment over. Well, here, I'll just open this. You can see my little milk equipment thing real quick. But my first experience was an apprentice. I've had most of my farm-related deepness has come from some apprentices that came highly educated, very motivated, and with really interesting ideas. So one of them ate all high fats, all grass-based but high fats. He was ripped and ate that his dinner was a big pile of fats and meats. That's all he ate. It was incredible. Well, it was raw meats and lots of things cooked in oil. And then another apprentice came along and she was all about the raw milk dairy, and so she got me into the dairy. But it turns out the best thing for the dairy isn't necessarily the raw milk, it's the green grass-based milks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the nice thing is Rob gave us our 2 cows. One physically, and then she had a baby, and yeah, we have our second cow. Thanks, Rob's up.
Buttercup? We were trying to decide, is it named Buttercup the one?
Yeah. No. You gave us Petunia.
Oh, Petunia!
Yeah, you gave us Petunia, and then we had her artificially inseminated, and now we have Buttercup as well. I think actually Buttercup is still feeding off of Petunia 3 years later.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
It's really weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, let's go see some of Rob's wonderful animals, and hopefully they don't
everybody loves grain, so I'm going to grab a little bit of this.
I'm gonna go scratch these pigs.
Yeah. Isn't it funny? They're not penned in here. They're just this is their home, and they're we're just gonna hang out. They make a bed in here, especially in the cold morning.
You're a giant massive muscle!
To me, it reminds me of rhinoceros.
Are they mule foots?
Like a teeny rhinoceros.
That's not a mule foot, but this looks like our old mule foots.
I went to
Kinda, but it's an American guinea hog.
Oh, okay.
And our neighbor is raising a commercial. Eating some grain, but he hates sharing it. Just put it in there, eat it.
Yeah, so he looks a lot like our...
That's not enough, it says.
I was going to say, the only difference between this and the mule foots are that it has cloven hooves, but they look exactly the same.
Yeah, he looks really like our mule foots.
So that's full grown, right? You're saying it's the same size?
Oh,
No.
3 times the size.
They were...
well, that's full grown.
Yeah.
She's an old lady.
So you were at Devon. What's her name?
This is Rosa.
Rosa?
And all of her babies are born with Spanish names. Spanish flowers.
We did not mention that at all in the drive over here.
Peonia is one of her babies.
Peony?
Yeah. Spanish for peony. The other ones are males, so we've only have one so far. But
okay.
And then of course Rosa.
So are you still milking her?
Yeah, she'll be milked until I decide to quit, which will probably be around December.
Okay.
Do they just hang out in this roadway, or is that their grazing?
This is what I'm going to use to repopulate Devon, England through some friends of mine who have property there now.
Oh, okay.
As a
Are they not in
England?
They must be in England.
No, they're completely extinct from Great Britain.
What? Really?
They're originated from there, brought over by the settlers, used in America extensively because it's ox, it's meat, it's milk.
Yeah.
There's a cattle called Devon in America that is like Angus, but it's all genetically tinkered. It's not at all the original Devon.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So that's Lily? Is she named? Are all of her daughters named after flowers?
Yes, including yours.
But not Spanish flowers.
Right, because she's
American.
Well, she just looked like a Spanish bull to us.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know. I have the whole Latino thing going on, learning Spanish, so we needed the English named flowers and the Spanish named flowers.
And that's why she has baby Petunia.
Baby
That's
Petunia.
why Baby Petunia
And what
has
did you name her?
Baby Buttercup.
Buttercup. So see, you've kept it.
She's definitely interested in it.
She is just a pet, just like yours. We just keep her here because she can't be milked anymore. She has a genetic disorder.
She wants
Is
that
she
bucket.
pregnant?
No, because she can't be
No,
milked.
she just has a big.
I mean, do you typically have to fence pigs, or is this kind of normal?
People do fence pigs.
That's how you got your pig.
Oh, it wandered on?
That pig came from another farm over there, yeah. And so he left their farm because he didn't like it there, and he likes it here.
So he stayed.
So he stayed. So
so
if you keep him
adorable.
happy, so like for instance, we gave him a big bale of hay so they can fluff and play in.
Right.
They come out here and eat the nuts on the trees.
Oh, okay.
We feed them grain every day. Oh, there you're making them run. And we pet them. You can see he's real friendly. This one was born here, and those 3 weren't. That's why she's a little more.
So what are the goats? What are the goats supplying you? Did you ever milk
Technically
them?
meat. No,
Okay.
these aren't milk goats.
Okay.
We
But
have-
my great uncle had goats that looked very similar to this, and they were milking goats. He did milk them.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what breed that was.
I could probably ask my cousin to ask somebody, but I'm sure nobody knows.
Because milk breeds are usually a lot skinnier. That's
Maybe
why
they
you're
were.
complaining about the fat.
They all look quite similar because they're all
Goats.
goaty looking.
So we have 4 females. We borrow somebody's buck, get them pregnant. They get pregnant just like that.
Cool.
And then they have 2 or 3 kids each. So we get enough goat meat to last for 2 years out of one cycle.
Out of one pregnancy or for all 4? So
I'm
you get anywhere
keeping the kids
anywhere
from all
between
4.
8 and 12
Yeah, kids.
kids. Yeah.
We raise them till they're yearlings and
You've
take
got a
them
very
to process.
funny looking goat in there.
I know. He
trying to
likes
get
to
the
graze too.
So you have chickens. Is the green grass eggs is very important to your mental process as well.
Absolutely, yes. The yolk should be orange, not yellow. And if you get an orange yolk, totally filled with omega-3 fatty acids and CLA.
That comes from being grass-fed, like more.
Yeah,
or
they eat a lot of grass. It's amazing how much grass
And
they
from
eat.
bugs and stuff.
Yeah, they get a lot of that from bugs too. But if you have them just in a dirt lot and they eat bugs, you don't get the orange yolks. The industry is using 2 tricks. One is marigolds. If you feed them marigolds, the yolks come out bright orange, but they don't have all that healthy benefit. And the other trick is that some of the industry is using like flaxseed or other kinds of like high omega-3 fatty acid seeds, which does impart, it does impart healthiness.
Oh, that's
Oh,
the
so
ones
it's
that
not-
say
It's
omega-3.
not terrible. Yeah, they're getting it through feeding certain
Okay.
kinds of seeds. They're not. It's not from green grass, but green grass is free and cheap. Like
Yeah.
it's everywhere. Not for a commercial operation, for any home operation. So this thing,
Do you
as
move
you can
them
see,
from-
moves. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were over there in the corner, and at the beginning of the season, and then we moved over here, and then this. Because this is scratched out, it looks pretty terrible, but it's totally full of manure, so it's going to green up really fast.
Yeah. Cool.
And do
We
they
have,
put themselves away and then?
Yeah, we don't have to close it because this is electrified.
Chickens are
Oh,
one of
okay.
your wishes.
Yeah, I'm gonna-
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I
and
wanna do
I think I'm
chickens.
gonna set up something similar to this where I can move. I'm gonna have the thing in the middle, but I'm gonna be able to move the size of the pen around. So you're gonna have to-
You can totally change the shape, right, and
Yeah.
the size. And as I said, we don't come and close this at night at all. So they go in on their own, they come out on their own.
When was the last time you lost a bird to a predator?
Well, I mean, we lose them pretty regularly. So let's say we lose like 1 a month or 1 every 6 weeks.
Okay.
But we also had a bunch of them hatch. They reproduce faster than they
Get picked
get
off.
picked off. Yeah, if you've got a little system for that to keep it going. And she meets us at a hatter, so would have had her for some reason, not just.
So Rob is kind enough to take us in with the buffalo. It's gonna be really loud. When did you get into buffalo farming?
I wanted a challenge and wanted good quality food.
Yeah.
Like it's low fat, and I wanted something that was natural for the land, and so they're native to this area.
Yeah.
There were bison here in Virginia.
Have you found any relics of the old bison on your farm?
No, just names like Buffalo Creek,
Yeah.
Buffalo Run, Buffalo Lake.
So what's your favorite part then?
My favorite part of doing this?
Of doing all the buffalo stuff.
Oh gosh, that's a tough question. I really like, first of all, when I first started doing this, there were 300 bison in the world. 300,000 bison in the world.
Okay.
Now there's about 850,000, and I've at least added a number of thousands of those. So I like that part. I think it's pretty amazing.
All right. Those are buffalo. Those are American bison?
Yep. Plains bison.
Plains bison. And these are pretty big old guys.
These are our production herd, so they're all going to processing and turning into steaks in the next 3 or 4 months, probably by January.
They look big, so I imagine, so they're all intact.
They're all intact.
Because normally a cow, or a heifer, no, not a heifer.
Yeah, a steer, you're thinking, yeah.
A steer of this size would have been castrated.
Right, but there's no health benefit. As a matter of fact, there's probably a detriment, meaning that they're stresses them out too much. They can develop health problems from the, snipping.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really provide any change in the meat's quality, texture, or their behavior.
So one of the things that I find most fascinating about this, and you told me this a while ago, was that these buffalo these creatures are very, very in tune with their stress levels, and they even get very acutely ill if they're too stressed.
Yes, when we put them through the corral, it takes probably like 3 to 5 months.
Months?
Yeah.
Wow.
Some people like that in the Great Plains where they don't see humans for years have even worse problems. As you can see, they're acclimated enough that they're not freaking out that we're right here. But there's bison a lot of bison in the west that would freak out if they heard a car, like a half a mile away, they'd be running.
Yeah. I was gonna say, they don't seem as flighty as I imagined buffalo would be.
No, we do intensive rotational grazing, so they move from one paddock to the next. There's a paddock right behind them, which is why it's so much greener. Mm-hmm. And then it gets all ratty looking like this, and in about 2 days after this, they go to the next paddock. So because we move them every day and a half to 2 days, they're really acclimated to the ATVs and to our presence. So Ben.
Yeah.
You gonna ask me a question?
So there's a buffalo peeing.
Buffalo peeing.
Yep. How much does that buffalo weigh?
Well, he probably weighs 850 to 900 pounds right now, and the goal is to get him to 1,100 pounds by January.
We've got to go rescue them.
You do?
I turned it off. I don't know how to start it again.
Oh.
So we've got to go start their ATV because they're geniuses.
Gonna be rescued by the...
Whatever. So
By the Buffalo Whisperer.
Turn it on. Oh, it's because you got to put it in neutral.
Oh,
Neutral.
it was...
So we're actually calling the channel Taste Happy.
Okay, that's cool.
And so it's going to be a combination of basically us trying to fulfill our middle class malaise and like find the things that really bring us joy, whether it's through sort of meditation, activities, self-awareness, anything like that.
Mindfulness and self-actualization are two things you need to insert in there. We need to talk about
Oh,
those
okay.
later.
So then mindfulness, self-actualization, activities, because everybody needs activities, a bit of meditation, and just looking for the joy in life.
Right.
That's the most important thing. I seem to find most of that through sort of cooking and food. So I thought Taste Happy was sort of a good, short but still to the point. Of
that
what
happy is a very all-encompassing thing.
Yeah, and it's different everybody. And I'm really glad that me, you, James, Isidore, anybody who else wants to come on the journey with us, it's going to be around.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
When we shut down this YouTube channel, it'll just be us making spaghetti again, but it'll be sad because we'll all be dying.